The following is a presentation of FNX Network, fnx.network.
On this episode of Casual Mode, it's E3 news. Nothing but E3 news. No, seriously, this episode is going to be entirely E3 news. Total E3 coverage, wall-to-wall E3, from Bethesda to, whatever's at the end. E3 news! It's episode 19, and it starts right now. Seriously, E3. If you're looking for something else, it's not going to be here. It's Casual Mode with Jeremy and David, episode 19 for June 22nd, 2015. No, seriously, it's just E3 news. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Casual Mode, the podcast for geeks of all trades and masters of none. I am your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is fellow gamer, little brother to me, and co-host to all of you, David. How you doing, David?
Hi. I just got back from work, and I am tired as crap.
All right.
Oh.
As we mentioned at the tail end of the last episode, and as you heard on the opening sequence and all that, this episode is going to be wall-to-wall E3 coverage, because this is the week of E3. So, we've been monitoring all the E3 news and the press conferences very, very closely.
Technically, you've been monitoring them very, very closely. I'm just sitting around, and I'm going to probably hear some new stuff from you that I didn't even see before. The only one I got to see was the Nintendo one and a little bit of the Square Enix one in this day coming. So,
yeah, and for those of you who think that sitting around and watching live streams of industry professionals talking about games that are coming this year and next year is easy, well, as you'll find out pretty soon enough, sometimes it could be downright infuriating. I would like to start off, though, with something I never thought we would ever do on an episode of Casual Mode. Issue a retraction. Okay, on the Silly News and Dumb Tweets segment of the last episode, we covered the story of Richard de La Salle, who was a white person masquerading as a black person in the Spokane chapter of the NCAA. Apparently had some nasty letters and such sent
NAACP?
Yeah, NAACP is what I meant. And at the time, I had said, and Victoria and David agreed with me when I said that it appeared that she was in fact genuine in wanting to help the African American community, so we couldn't really ultimately fault her. That was before we discovered that apparently all those lovely little nasty letters that she was getting were sent by her. So, in light of this new evidence, speaking for Casual Mode, and especially speaking for me personally, I would like to issue an apology for my statements of support for her. What she has done has very clearly actually been quite damaging. Now,
I do not apologize for my indifference about this topic, because, to be perfectly honest, does this really matter in the grand scheme of things?
Well, it certainly doesn't help African Americans be better at all, because it really kind of makes them look bad. It really does damage them to have somebody
like how conservatives constantly talk about how African Americans want to be victimized. Yeah, I can see why they'd be pissed off a little bit. Honestly, I can see why African Americans would be pissed off at such people. And to be perfectly honest, they have a right to be pissed off at such people. In my opinion, though, at the end of the day, this is not the NAACP's doing. This is the doing of one person who wants to make herself more of a victim than she apparently is. I don't know what it's like to be a part of the NAACP, and I'm not even going to start pretending to try. But, People we have to realize that people are just people, all right? Whether or not they're white or black or Hispanic or Asian or mixed, people are just people. And I really think that we need to start stop making everyone feel like, they're victimizing each other or trying to accuse of each other of being victimized. And we should just start putting into action certain things that would allow us to better our own lives. Yeah. Rather than just, writing letters to ourselves.
Yeah, so, bottom line takeaway from this is that we sincerely regret now our statements of support for her. And in fact, we are now going...
I didn't care.
Me especially personally, because that's not the kind of person I want to be. I realize I have privilege as a white male, and I want to use that position to help people who have a lesser level of privilege than I do. And by supporting someone like that, I am doing the exact opposite of what I want to do. So please take this apology as sincerely as it is being given.
And if you think that I have privilege being half Asian, but that's for another time.
All right. Also, we're going to give you just a teeny little bit of sports news before we get into the E3 coverage. Blackhawks win.
Yay.
So, if you're from Chicago, have fun celebrating that Stanley Cup, but please celebrate responsibly. Don't be a dick.
Okay, can we get to the E3 news now? Because I gotta get some pizza. Yeah, I'm gonna be eating dinner while we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna just take bits and pieces of this, because while I did try to use a smaller note paper to limit my notes, there is still quite a lot to cover from 3 days worth of press conferences, starting with Bethesda. The major things to take away, the major games that were being showcased there were the most recent version of Doom, which will be out in spring 2016. I'm
doing a Let's Play if it comes out on PC, by the way.
Yeah, it is more gruesome than ever, like Mortal Kombat X.
Oh, yes.
Especially with melee takedowns, and of course the iconic chainsaw. All your Doom favorites are going to be there. All the classic enemies, the big fucking gun, etc., 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 or a Bioforce gun if you're a fan of the movie, which I don't know why you would be. There's also going to be a map creator tool called Snap Map that is supposed to making your own custom maps for multiplayer and such even easier. Bethesda also announced not too long after that they have kind of a battle.net kind of service coming, Bethesda.net, which is kind of going to be their hub for some of their games and for mods and such. Also, if you played the game Dishonored and enjoyed it, you'll be happy to know that in fall of this year there is going to be an HD remake for the PS4 and Xbox One. And also in development is the sequel, Dishonored 2, which actually has two protagonists, one of which is a female protagonist! Suck it, MRAs! Dishonored 2 will be for all the next-gen consoles and PC, so keep an eye out for that. Alongside
you do realize that some of the MRAs might just secretly jack off to it. Just saying.
Yeah, but they're going to be complaining about it while they do it.
He's female protagonist.
All right, down boy.
Yes, I am a professional asshole.
Yeah, and of course, we finally got some more details about Fallout 4, which is coming out November 10th of this year. If there is any possible way that I can play this game November the 10th, I'm calling Fallout 4. If I'm able
All right,
to
well,
upgrade, yeah,
I'm
you
calling
call
Doom.
You call Doom. I call Fallout 4, and I've never played a Fallout. I've never played Fallout 3 or New Vegas, so me trying to play Fallout 4 is going to be really interesting. But it centers around a new Vault 111. It's got a very in-depth character creation way, which they're doing it in a very interesting way. The opening sequence actually has you with a family, and you're getting up in the morning doing your morning routine, and while you're looking in the mirror, that's when you actually do the character creation to make sure you look exactly the way that you want your character to look. You can play as male or female, and also, however you create these characters, a baby will be generated depending on what you set the man or woman to look like. So that's interesting. It actually starts kind of prequel-ish to the whole Fallout series, because it actually starts you out before the bombs fall, which is very interesting. It starts you out before the bombs fall, and then takes you 200 years later, after the area around Boston. Actually, it's set in Massachusetts, and post-apocalyptic alternate Massachusetts this time has been leveled by the nuclear war. There's going to be a collector's edition, which actually has a live version of the Pip-Boy that is going to be on your character's arm, which you can slide your cell phone into with a smartphone app for Fallout 4 for a dual screen experience. Is that cool or what? And also in the game, you get to have you find a mutt that you can a dog that you can have as your companion. You can get resources from various different items and actually build yourself a defense base and kind of rebuild the wasteland for the first time in Fallout history. So it looks to be a really, really interesting game with tons to do. They also announced that out now for iOS and coming soon to Android, there is a completely free-to-play Fallout mobile game called Fallout Shelter. You get to create your own vault, you get to oversee your vault dwellers, get them food, get them water, make sure they've got power, make sure that they're able to get education and exercise and whatnot, send them out into the wasteland to get food and whatnot, and oversee all your resources. Like I said, no paywalls, no microtransactions for stuff. Absolutely free. Already out on iOS, soon to be out on Android. All right, moving on to Microsoft's E3 conference.
All right, I'm gonna go get. While you're doing the Microsoft stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a piece.
Alrighty.
One, so it's not bothering you right now.
Okay, weird.
Go ahead.
Well, hold on, my internet was doing things. Okay. At least if we need to, we've got to...
I'm recording this stuff.
Yeah, I'm recording it too. So.
Yeah.
Right. Moving on to Microsoft's E3 coverage. Naturally, they started off with Halo, because that's like their Xbox Uber exclusive forever. I think one of the characters is being voiced by Nathan Fillion, who, of course, for those of us who are really, really geeky, of course, played Captain Mal on Firefly, among other things. In fact, he was actually Steve Trainer on one of the DC animated movies, the Wonder Woman one, which really, really fun there. And I think he also did the voice of Hal Jordan in one of those as well. There's going to be another new playable Spartan alongside Master Chief, who in storyline seems to have gone AWOL from the Space Marine Corps. So, interesting storyline there. Also, their multiplayer has been upgraded to where you can have 24 jackasses on the same map. There's this one game, though, for the Xbox One that is an Xbox One exclusive. Kind of makes me sad that it's an Xbox One exclusive, because it's really, really interesting. It's from Keiji Inafune, who, basically is the father of Mega Man, and the makers of Metroid Prime. It is called Recore. It's set to come out spring of 2016. And as I affectionately refer to it, it's kind of the story of a girl and her Cybertronian. Because you had this girl and this robot fighting for survival in this wasteland, and whenever your robot companion needs to, you can take its core, or as I'm going to affectionately refer to it, its spark, out of the robot, put it into any number of different shells to do various different tasks. So, yeah, you can do various... I'm sad that that's an Xbox One exclusive, because I want a game like that to be on something I would actually want to buy. See? Godzilla agrees with me. Godzilla agrees with me there. Yeah, Godzilla agrees with me on that, Sorry. Live, everybody. I forgot to put my phone on mute. Of course, one of the biggest announcements from the Microsoft press conference is something that you wouldn't think would be a big deal, but, it's the Xbox One, so of course it's a big deal. In holiday 2015, Xbox One will be backwards compatible with Xbox 360 games, which, I may remind you, backwards compatibility with the last generation is something that the Nintendo console Wii U has had since launch. And Sony's kind of got something similar to that, but it's basically you having to buy and re-download the games again. But in this case, it's actually, if you already have the game disc, then you don't need to buy anything else. You'll be able to play it on the Xbox 360. So, kind of a little sidelong jab at Sony there. And it will also feature Kinect, voice command, and Xbox Live compatibility when this update comes down in the holiday. If you're really, really obsessive, though, about playing various different games and wanting absolute control, they came up with an Xbox Elite wireless controller that has parts of it you can swap in and out to get better control for your directional pad or analog sticks. If you're into that. I've actually got fair bunch of notes on this, but I'm going to try and slim it down. They were showing some independent games, a bunch of independent games. The one that struck my eyes the most is one that is coming out in the summer of this year, and it's kind of a concept game called Beyond Eyes. What it is it's centered around this protagonist being a girl who's going to explore her world for the first time, but she's blind. So she's having to use senses other than sight to get an idea of what the world around her looks like. And it looked very, 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 very pretty. It's a very, very interesting concept.
Hey everyone, this is David. Like what you hear? Check us out on the internet at casualmodepodcast.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/casualmodepodcast, any one of our social media links, and of course, click on the little subscribe button below. Thanks!